All right, sorry about that. Hi, everyone. My name is Jasenia. I am the event coordinator here at Microdesk. Welcome to our BIM 360 workflow series. Today is our sixth session, and we're taking it mobile. Just a little housekeeping before we get started. If you have any questions during the presentation, please be sure that you're asking it in the question box in your GoToWebinar control panel, not the chat panel. Also, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on our website and YouTube channel within a couple days. So you'll be receiving an email once that link is ready. And before we jump into the webinar, I just want to introduce Microdesk to you all. All right, Microdesk was founded in 1994 as an Autodesk reseller with a simple mission to assist architecture, engineering, construction, owners, and GIS firms with improving workflows and integrating project delivery technologies. 25 years later, and that mission still holds true. Microdesk is a well-established AECO consulting firm with 13 offices in the US and the UK. We have over 230 AECO consultants, solution specialists, and software developers that can help in all sectors, all disciplines, and at all stages. Some of the hottest topics in the AECO world are globalization, urbanization, and sustainability. Urbanization studies suggest that just the US alone will build 114 cities the size of Boston in the next 30 years. Here at Microdesk, we can help to make sure you're prepared to meet those demands. We use software from industry leaders and combine it with our vision and passion for sustainability to meet the demands of urbanization. Our team of industry expert consultants are redefining project delivery and asset management. We're committed to helping clients realize the business benefits of BIM quickly and economically by facilitating the use of innovative technologies and processes. Whether it's streamlining your design, construction, or operations, our consulting team is the nation's largest and most experienced group of AECO technology consultant professionals. To help support the industry with these demands of urbanization, we provide full-service consulting. This includes building information modeling services, software and workflow training, CIO advisory, and much, much more. And we partner with world leaders such as Autodesk and IBM to utilize innovative technologies and methodologies to empower sustainable design and overcome local challenges. Our vision is to reduce the environmental impact of urbanization by helping the AECO industry to design, construct, and operate better projects more efficiently by leveraging the full potential of BIM, VDC, and asset management. And now I'll hand it off to Peter to take you through today's webinar. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, Cindy. So my name is Peter Marchese. I'm a senior technology evangelist at Microdesk. I've been with Microdesk 15 years actually next week. I worked as an architect for 10 years before that. And my focus these days is more on the emerging technology side of things. BIM 360, cloud technologies, augmented reality, VR, UAVs. I work a lot with the research and development and working out what tools that are coming along the way are actually useful or just something that's new. And I work with my internal teams and our clients to make sure that they're aware of the tools, know how to use it, and know how to leverage them to differentiate themselves from their competitors. Now, today we're going to be talking about is the mobile apps and the mobile connection. Before we get rolling with that, I'd just like to ask the audience a couple of basic questions. I'll launch that real quick. Just like, what is your role? Are you an architect? Are you an engineer, designer, CAD manager? Thank you very much. So we're going to close that one. A good 50-50 split looks like. Oh, not anymore. Are you currently using BIM 360 services? Good mix across everything. And the last one here. Are you currently using cloud or mobile tools? So if you're using something on the mobile device, you're putting things in the cloud, go in, access content, share it in the field. Good to see. Okay. All right, so without any further ado, we're going to go into the BIM 360 mobile apps. Now, the workflow series that we've been doing, we've covered a lot of ground. So we started off talking about the different aspects of BIM 360 hubs, setting up the actual hub, getting rolling with that, setting up your project from there, then focused on the individual services like BIM 360 design, the model coordination, build platform. Today we're talking about taking it mobile. The next section that we have, we're going to be talking about BIM 360 for operations. Now, in terms of BIM 360, it's Autodesk's cloud coordination platform. So if you're looking for something to work with design, if you're working in construction, if you're going into operations, it kind of covers a little bit of everything. And the nice thing is it all has a consistent API that allows you to access it and customize it. So there's different things that you can work with, whether it's analytics, whether it's project management, doing financial work with cost. So there's a lot of different components of it. And most of it breaks down into these four BIM 360 ops. It's a little bit different, but these four components. So you got BIM 360 docs, design, coordinate, and build. Now, the nice thing about this is that when we start talking about the mobile component, it's consistent. So I'm not going to need 5 different apps like we used to in the past. So the current apps that we have out here. So we got iOS, we have Android. Now, when we start talking about what we used to have, the classic apps, on Android, we only had the BIM 360 team app. But in iOS, we had field, we had glue, we had team, we had ops, layout, plan. You had all these different apps that you need to install and then know how to bounce between in order to do what you were looking for. So the great thing about when we start looking at the next gen is that really perfect. We just have BIM 360. Now, Android has 2 apps because the BIM 360 layout app is a next gen app that's currently in beta. But the only thing we really need to focus on right now is just the BIM 360 app. It's going to be consistent between Android and iOS. And the great thing here is that when we look at this, the features are pretty consistent. On iOS, we've got our document management, we can do markups and issues. We have our field management components of checklists and daily logs. Project management allows us to interact with RFIs and submittals. And the brand new component of build, the asset management, is available in the iOS. When we look at Android, it's almost the same thing. Asset management's not in there yet, but it will be shortly. The entire component of asset management was just released. So typically what will happen is a new feature will come out on iOS, and then within a couple of months, it'll be on side of Android. So the nice thing here is that when we look at the apps, it's not a, this or that. We're going to have access to both of them. It's very nice. Now, in terms of actually being able to work with these, let me bring this up. There we go. So what I've got open on the screen right now is an Android device and an iOS device. And both of these are inside of that webinar series project that we've been utilizing throughout the whole series. So over here, I can always pull down when I'm looking at my project files. Again, it's going to be consistent between both of them. I can see the different folders that are inside of my project. If I want to hop in and take a look at something, so I'll take a look at the structural file. And now that's downloading the file locally. And I'll be able to do pretty much the same thing regardless of whether I'm on a tablet or I'm on a phone. So I can orbit the view. I can tell it that I want to actually change which one of these views I'm looking at. So you're going to notice that the interface is going to be pretty consistent. So if I'm moving between different devices or operating systems, it's not like one is completely different from the other one. If I'm trying to find out what views I have access to, I have sheets and views in both. If I want to go to my sections over here versus over there, same thing. I have my ability to do my markups, my measurements. I can actually create my issues in either one. So the great thing here is that you're going to have a full feature. It's not like one of these is going to be very limited compared to the other one. We'll hop back into a 3D view. So looking at my structural file right now, and you'll see on the bottom of the view, I've got the markup, issue, RFI, and measurement. I also now have the ability to do my section cuts live while I'm inside of the mobile device. And if I want to, I can go into a first-person view and essentially fly through this. We get that in the screen. And you're going to notice that you're actually going to be able to see where your camera is relative to the actual model in sort of the hyperview plan view. So if I'm trying to walk through a floor plan and I really don't know where I am, I can always look there and I'll actually see the plan. I'm trying to get a better understanding of what happens inside my project. I can do a live section cut on my mobile device. So a lot of the features that we've been seeing or getting accustomed to in the browser, we actually can do locally as well, or sorry, mobily as well. If I need to do a markup, over here, start drawing on the screen if I want to. Thankfully, there is also an undo button. You can do text, clouds, ovals, polylines, same as you would be able to do on the web. I can choose whether or not this is a private or personal markup, as well as making the published markup. And if what I want to do is create an issue, same idea as if I was doing this in the browser. Tap that, and now I can go through and start creating my issue. And if I am out in the field, or if I want to take photographs of elements, I can easily take the photo and then apply that to my issue. Let me discard this one actually. And hop back. Now, when I'm looking at the models that I have here, so you're going to notice that I've got that there, and there's a little arrow on the bottom of this. You're going to see that bottom on folders as well as files. Now, what that means is that that allows me to download that element or that entire folder of content. So if I just do that there, same idea, to my local device. A lot of project sites don't necessarily have great Wi-Fi or internet connectivity. So what this allows me to do is to download all my content locally, so that way when I do go out to the field, I have access to it. So if I come over here, got my sync, I can easily see how many files are available locally on my device. And it's just that one. Over here, same thing. I have my downloads, tap on that, and that'll actually show me what I've downloaded locally to my device. So I have access to it regardless of what's going on. It's now cached. And if I do need to do work while I'm working offline, no problem. I can still see the view. I can still orbit around the view. I can still create markups and issues. And once I actually get back online, I can synchronize that by just pulling down or letting it work on its own. And again, if anybody does have any questions, please feel free to drop those into the questions window. I'm keeping an eye on that as I go through this. So your documents, your issues, those are pretty basic in terms of what you'd expect. Most people are probably already used to just doing the navigation and orbit through the browser. Now, over here, I've got my checklists. So this is going to be very similar. So on the phone orientation, some of those controls that would be on the bottom in terms of a tablet will be in the flyout to the left. Over here, I'll go to my checklists. And what I can do is see the different checklists that I've created as templates here. Same thing. So if I go to my system commissioning here, my safety inspection there, I can actually see the different pieces that are in there. And then I can choose to create those. If I need to, I can assign it to myself or assign it to somebody else. And now I'm working in the checklist on my mobile device. This is basically how it works. Perfect. So go through here. Yes, no. Pass, no, fail. And you're really just tapping on those items. So it makes it very easy, very user-friendly. If there's things that I need to add to this, If I want to add notes to a comment, I tap on Note. Great thing about this is that if I'm working out in the field and it's hard for me to type, almost every phone or device now has the ability to do a memo and to dictate the information that you want to put in there. So I don't have to sit there and actually, try to fat finger everything or get it all in there. You also have the ability to create issues. Now, this specific checklist that I created is relatively basic, but I can always automate the process of creating the issues. So if there's a negative response, it'll automatically make that issue. And I can also create draft or basically template issues as well. So whenever there's a problem with this, I want you to automatically create this specific kind of an issue. So that way you're not relying on an end user to choose which kind of an issue it should be. That can all be dictated right from the start. So I go through here. I'll just finish filling this one out. So it's pretty quick. Sure, thought it was pretty quick. Forgot how many was in here. But once I'm finished with this, I can submit that, and then anyone else back in the field will be able to see this. So I can say that that's done, and I've actually completed this. And that's now going to be available back inside the browser for the rest of the company to actually be able to see. So I'm going to hop out of my checklists now. I can go to my RFIs. Now, it might look like I don't have RFIs on the iPad. Now, more tools here are under that little more. So if I tap on more, I go to my RFIs. In this case, now I can see my tools here. If I needed to create an RFI, I can just hit the plus symbol. If I was in a drawing and I wanted to create an RFI, I can do the same thing as I would be able to do inside of the browser. So if there's a question that I had on this, same idea. So I can submit my RFI from this component. I can run through and just create a basic RFI without needing to be in a drawing or a document, but both devices are going to allow me to work that way. Really, again, depends on what I'm trying to do, but you're not limited by the operating system or the device that you have. Now, submittals here are a little bit different. Out of that. So in this case, I can see the different submittals that I have on my project. Because I'm the admin, I can also see all the ones that are currently in draft. I can see that some of these are currently set for required, some of them are open, some of them are complete. So I can go through here and actually visibly see them, find out what's going on. I can see which ones I've assigned to different people or what I've actually worked on. If I need to, I can check the attachments and review these. Now, the submittals at this point are a little bit more for review as opposed to actually going through and editing or working on. These are things that are also going to be updated though. But if I need to see where we are to get a better understanding of what's going on and how things are being worked on, that I can actually do. Now, the other thing you can do is you can work on your daily logs. If you're on a project site and one of your roles is maintaining a log, who was on site? What was the weather? What was the situation? Did anything happen today? Tracking and logging all of that information. This can all be done from this device and then managed and tracked online. I can easily see a calendar and every one of the dates that I might have already created a daily log will be visible here. So I can always go back and review them. And in terms of adding labor, the nice thing is I can always copy the data from a previous result. So if I had people that were on site yesterday, I can always copy them forward to the current day. And then I can actually start modifying that from that point. So I don't have to write everything in the entire time. Now, the main feature that we're going to look at that is specific to the iOS at the moment is our assets. So again, newer feature than using that little more component on the bottom. Assets will take me to the view where I can actually see all the different assets that are currently created. I can edit these, I can view them, I can see if there's checklists that are already assigned to these. So if I'm doing commissioning or closeout, I can go right to the piece of equipment, see what checklist is assigned to it, and immediately fill it out. And one of the nice things is it's a little hard to see here, but right up there, just to the right of where it says assets, is a QR symbol. What this allows me to do is actually scan barcodes or QR codes. And what that's going to do is it'll take me right to the specific piece of equipment that is actually connected to that. There we go. So in this case, I can scan a piece of equipment out in the field. This will take me to the data that's in there. I can then enter in information like the serial number, when it was installed by, who it was installed by, go to my checklists, fill out the checklist right here. If there's any issues, I can create them on that. And if there's any attachments, I want to take a photograph of where it is, what it looks like. I can easily do all that and add to this. Now, all these different aspects on the mobile device, they're very easy to use. If you don't see all these components, it's just because you don't have access to those tools. So you might not own build, in which case you won't get tools like the daily logs, the submittals, RFIs, or the assets. But you will have access to things like your issues and your markups and documents. So what I see here really is going to be dependent on what package I have. But outside of the assets, it's not going to be dependent on the operating system. Now, there are a couple of things that I can do from the browser that allows me to manage things a little bit more as well. So I'm going to hop over to my browser, and I'm going to hop into my project management. If I go to my document management, so I'm in the project admin for the document management. And one of the things that you can do is go to the advanced settings. You can put in a mobile security key. Now, if you are focusing on using iOS and you're using mobile device management, this allows you to create a mobile security key so you can have a higher level of security for your mobile devices. Outside of that, though, the rest of this is really just using the same setup that you already have. If a user is invited to my project, they have access to that project. So that way, when they're actually using that mobile device, they're able to come in and then see whatever projects they've been invited to. They can search. So if you're invited to a lot of projects, you can type in and that'll take you right where you need to be. Then they can manage back and forth. And the settings for this is also pretty easy. You can tell it whether or not you want it to use your cellular network, if you want to actually provide feedback. But it's meant to be easy to work with and consistent so that the interface is not going to be completely alien to you. You notice that the graphics actually look almost the exact same in terms of how things are presented. So that way you're not learning a completely new UI just because you're using the mobile device. So nice thing here, you have access to all the different components. You can still work with the different tools regardless of where you are. And it requires little to no setup. You install the app, you log on, you have access. Any questions on anything? One question, will the assets be coming to BIM 360 on Android? Yes, they're not there yet, but it will be coming in the near future. A couple of other questions coming. It's going to cover one more thing. So with our workflow series, today's one is taking it mobile. You notice that all the other sessions are now available on demand on our YouTube page. This will also be there as well. The next session that we're going to have is focusing on BIM 360 for operations. So I'll be talking about BIM 360 ops, but I'll also be talking about just using the other aspects of BIM 360. So if you have content in the docs service, how can I connect that to a facility management or operations service, regardless of who makes it. For upcoming events, two of the next ones that we're doing are focusing on our BIMRX applications. So these are tools that we've created in-house. So the first one is the 21st of July. That's going to be the fabrication module. So we're going to be going over how to do school modeling, shop modeling, all the fabrication components. Following up after that is on the 28th of July. That's going to be our MEP component. So it's going to allow mechanical and electrical and plumbing engineers to more easily manage their MEP systems and calculations. So those will be really good. If anybody does have any further questions on anything, please feel free to reach out to us. If you have feedback, you have other content that you'd like us to do webinars on, let us know. We're always looking for that kind of guidance and feedback from our clients and our attendees. Otherwise, thank you very much, everybody. We really appreciate your time. Hope this was helpful. If you do have questions, reach out. Otherwise, have a great rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.